Hey, shalom, shalom. First and foremost, call her Layim La, Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shah, Bahashem Kakadash. Double honor to the elders and the apostle, great millstone, told me shoot and rule well, shalom. Alright, so today I wanted to come out of Benson Rock, chapter 39. Because I was, I was scrolling through social media, and it was this video of a female. No, it was a female and her husband, and their neighbor across the street, and basically they was arguing of like shoveling some snow or whatever, and the neighbor came out and basically murked both of them. You know, he shot both of them, and you know the spirit of vengeance is real heavy right now. So I wanted to go into that through the spirit. So this is let's start at verse 1. It says, this is Ecclesiastes 30, chapter 39. Says, but he that giveth his mind to the law of the Most High, and is occupied in the meditation thereof, will seek out the wisdom of all the ancient, and be occupied in prophecies. Because it says we'll seek out the wisdom of all the ancient, because there are some very wise men, very wise and renowned men, in the scriptures. They set a good example. And scriptures, I'm not sure what verse it is to be exact, but it says, go back to the days of the ways of old, because they were good examples. That's why it says, seek out the wisdom of all the ancient. It says, and be occupied in prophecy. It says, he will keep the sayings of the renowned men. Yeah, the word renowned. It says, and where subtle parables are, he will be there also. He will seek out the grave sentences and be conversant in dark parables. It's referring to a man of the Lord. So in dark, it's a hidden meaning. It's a hidden meaning. So a true man of the Lord will understand these different sayings, because everything in scripture is not literal. It says, he shall serve among great men and appear before princes. He will travel through strange countries, for he hath tried the good and evil among men. It says, he will give his heart, which is his mind, to resort early to the Lord that made him, and will pray before the Most High, and will open his mouth in prayer, and make supplication for his sins. It says, when the great Lord will, he shall be filled with the spirit of understanding. He shall pour out wise sentences, and give thanks unto the Lord in his prayer. Because the Lord is he does everything, man. He supplies everything for us. That's why it says, give thanks unto the Lord. And his prayer says, when the great Lord will, he shall be filled with the spirit of understanding. So that goes back to, everything is the Lord's will. The Lord controls everything, the good and the bad. It says, he shall direct his counsel and knowledge, and in secrets shall he meditate. He shall shew forth that which he hath learned, and shall glory in the law of the covenant of the Lord. So it says, he shall shew forth that which he hath learned, which is the scriptures. And when one way that you show what you learn is through wisdom. Yeah, through wisdom. Wisdom is the application of actually using the knowledge that you obtain in the scriptures. It says, many shall commend his understanding, and so long as the Lord endureth, it shall not be blotted out. His memorial shall not depart away. And his name shall live from generation to generation. Nation shall shew forth his wisdom, and the congregation shall declare his praise. If he die, he shall leave a greater name than 1,000. And if he live, he shall increase it. It says, yet have I more to say, which I have thought upon, for I am filled as the moon at the full. Hearken unto me, ye holy children, and bud forth as rose growing by the brook of the field. It says, hearken, which means listen, ye holy children, talking about the children of Israel. It says, and bud forth as a rose growing by the brook of the field. And a brook is also another word for water. It says bud forth because when it says, it's comparing the children of Israel as buds. It says bud forth as roses near a brook, because it's comparing the children of Israel to those roses, because when we get the living water, which is the scriptures, that is what makes us grow in the spirit, and that's what makes us thrive, and as we've seen in scriptures before, like when we, when we went off as a nation, we were doing terrible, we were decreased basically, and then when we are listening to the scriptures, we were living in abundance. All right, so it says, and give ye a sweet savor as frankincense, and flourish as a lily. Send forth a smell and sing a song of praise. Bless the Lord in all his works. He says, sing a song of praise. And what is that song? It's talking about his truth. It says, magnify his name and shew forth his praise with the songs of your lips, and with harps. And in praising him, ye shall say after this manner. It says, all the works of the Lord are exceeding good, and whatsoever he commandeth shall be accomplished in due season. Because everything has an appointed time. Everything has an appointed time. And specifically, prophecies. All right, so this is Habakkuk 2 and 3, and it says, for the vision is yet for an appointed time, but at the end it shall speak and not lie. Though it tarry, wait for it, because it will surely come. It will not tarry. And specifically referring to the prophecies, it says, I'm going to read it again. It says, for the vision is yet for an appointed time. So, a vision. Let me read this verse again. It says, all the works of the Lord are exceeding good, and whatsoever he commandeth shall be accomplished in due season. So, the good as well as the bad. So, one prophecy in particular, like Isaiah 4:1, that has an appointed time, which is coming up here soon, as well as the mark of the beast. As the dude Elon Musk just came out saying that they'll have like trials and stuff with that brain chip. All right, but it says, and none may say, what is this? Wherefore is that? For at a time convenient they shall all be sought out. At his commandment the waters stood as a heap, and at the words of his mouth the receptacles of waters. So again, everything has an appointed time. And what is that appointed time? Going back into this verse, it says, I'm going to read the whole thing again. It says, and none may say, what is this? Wherefore is that? Wherefore, another word for wherefore is why. So why is that? It says, for at time convenient to what? To the Lord. Because, this is ultimately, he's running everything, No one can question him. It says, they shall all be sought out at his commandment. then verse 18 it says, at his commandment is done whatsoever pleaseth him, and none can hinder when he will save. It says, the works of all flesh are before him, and nothing can be hid from his eyes. All right, and you know why does it say that? All right, so this is Ecclesiastes 10 and 20. Let's go back to this verse though. It say, all the works of all flesh are before him, and nothing can be hid from his eyes. So it says all flesh, so that means he sees everything. He knows everything that's going on. And who is his eyes and his ears? This is Ecclesiastes 10 and 20. It says, curse not the king, no, not in thy thought, and curse not the rich in thy bedchamber. So it says, and curse not the rich. Who are the rich? Let's get who the rich are. Lucky. All right, this is Revelation chapter 2 and verse 9. It says, I know thy works and tribulation and poverty, but thou art rich. You know, who is the scriptures for? The scriptures is for the nation of Israel. First and foremost, the elect, because of the sacrifice that, you know, Yahweh Shah made. So it says, again it says, I know thy works and tribulation and poverty, but thou art rich. And I know the blasphemy of them which say they are Jews and are not, but are the synagogue of Satan. So who is rich? You know, the men that are blessed to have this wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. So it says, curse not the king. Who's the king? You know, Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shah. It says, curse not the king, no, not in thy thoughts. So don't think about it. It says, and curse not the rich. Who is the rich? The men of the Lord. It says, in thy bedchamber. So don't do it in secret. You know, because why? Because going back to this verse right here, it says, the works of all flesh are before him, and nothing can be hid from his eyes, because the angels are going to see everything. It says, for a bird of the air shall carry the voice, and that which hath wings shall tell the matter. That's an angel right there. You know, they hear everything, they see everything for the Lord. All right, it says, he seeth from everlasting to everlasting, and there's nothing wonderful before him. And man need not to say, what is this? Wherefore is that? For he hath made all things for their uses. His blessing covered the dry land as a river, and watered it as a flood. As he hath turned the waters into saltness, so shall the heathen inherit his wrath. As his ways are plain unto the holy, so are they stumbling blocks unto the wicked. It says, for the good are good things created from the beginning. So evil things for sinners. The principal things for the whole use of man's life are water, fire, iron, and salt, flour, wheat, honey, milk, and blood of grape, oil, and clothing. All these things are for good to the godly, so to the sinners they are turned into evil. And you know, one thing like that, you could take, say like weed. You know, that has medicinal purposes. But you take somebody, you just take a nigga, man. That, you know, they smoke that shit, man. Or just you know, just anybody that's wicked, they would smoke it. You're not supposed to be smoking it. All right. What else? It's also a verse that says those that use the world, because there's certain things in this world that we can use, but then you have people that abuse it. That's why it says, what verse was it? It says, all these things are for it says all these things are for good to the godly, so to the sinners they are turned into evil. It says, this is verse 28. It says, there be spirits that are created for vengeance, which in their fury lay on sore strokes. In the time of destruction they pour out their force and appease the wrath of him that made them. So going back to that, you know, that video that was on social media, you know, the two dudes, you know, it seemed kind of messed up that, you know, that, or just somebody looking at, they'd be like, damn, man, like, why the dude had to shoot him? But going back to this verse, it says, there be spirits created for vengeance, which in their fury lay on sore strokes. In the time of destruction they pour out their force and appease the wrath of him that made them. So, I mean, I don't know them, and you know, majority of the people that saw that video probably don't know them, but it was probably, or they was out here doing wickedness, man. That's what, you know, that's why the Lord judged them. It says, well, and then going back to that video, like, basically, majority of sins, which is a verse for this, but I'm paraphrasing it. Majority of sins, what is it? The judgment for majority of sins is death. All right, and that's why you see a lot of like people die in terrible ways. So hold up. All right, so let me see. This is Hebrews chapter 10 and verse 31. It says, "It is a fearful thing to fall into the hands of the living power, who is Yahweh Bashem Yahushua." It says, it's another verse I wanted to get to. But nevertheless, though, it is a fearful thing to fall in the hands of the living God. You know, and you know, I don't know if they was Jakes or if they was, I don't know what they were, but they appear to be Edomites. But you know, the Lord, I mean, Shalaki, the Lord is you know, He gives people an ample amount of time to change, and you know, clearly, you know, they were judged. They didn't turn from their wicked ways. Verse 29, it says, "Fire and hail and famine and death, all these were created for vengeance." So vengeance, you know, that vengeance, if I'm not mistaken, is basically revenge, or vengeance would be also be judgment. So they had to do some type of wrong in order to be judged or get vengeance taken out on them. And you know, that's why we seeing these different, you know, these different crazy killings and murders and stuff. Like, it was a dude. It was a family. He had. I think he was like 17. Yeah, he had killed his dad, his brother, and like 3 other people. You know, that's not normal. The dude had spirits on him. It says, fire and hell and famine, which is already here, but they've been covering it up. It says it's going to get, it's going to progressively get way worse. But the Lord's men are going to eat. It says, all these were created for vengeance, teeth of wild beasts and scorpions and serpents and the sword, punishing the wicked to destruction. And judgment is going to start at the Lord's house. Roughly paraphrasing, the wicked of the Lord's people, and as well as the wicked, who is Esau, Edom, the so-called white man, for all the wickedness he's done throughout the years, all the deception and lies and stuff. It says, teeth of wild beasts, because it's going to, Leviathan is going to be here. The Lord going to put the spirit on certain animals to, do certain things. Like in the past, is like say for instance monkeys. It's not really in their demeanor to just go out and hurt dozens of people, but they've done it in the past, and that's because they had certain spirits on them. It says, scorpions and serpents and the sword, which is a killing instrument. So it's going to be a lot of death out here. And let's grab it's gonna be a lot of death, man. All right, so this is Matthew 24 and verse 12. It says, and because iniquity shall abound, which is iniquity, iniquity is basically wickedness. It says, and because iniquity shall abound. Why is it abounding? Because you go back to what is the whole 24th chapter is talking about, basically the end times. It's talking about the end. And just as we got in Ecclesiastes 39, it says, in the time of destruction. So verse 28, there be spirits that are created for vengeance, which in their fury lay on sore strokes. In the time of destruction, they pour out their force and appease the wrath of him that made him. And that's what we're going to see in these end times, is all that stuff that's listed right here. And iniquity is going to abound because there's going to be spirits out here, specifically because we are in the end times. And it's been so much wickedness. It says, and because iniquity shall abound, the love of many shall wax cold. And that's why we see these horrific type killings, that we've seen in these recent couple days. It says, they shall rejoice in his commandment, and they shall be ready upon earth when need is, and when their time is come, they shall not transgress his word. So they're not going to go against, what the Lord set them out to do. Because, for two things, because they want to please the Lord, and then for two, the Lord's word doesn't go out void. Roughly paraphrasing, it says, therefore, from the beginning I was resolved and thought upon these things, and have left them in writing. All the works of the Lord are good, and he will give every needful thing in due season. So that a man cannot say, this is worse than that. For in the time they shall all be well approved. And therefore praise ye the Lord with the whole heart and mouth, and bless the name of the Lord, Yahweh Bashem Yahushua. All right, and this is Matthew 25. All right, this is Matthew 25. Then shall the kingdom of heaven be likened unto 10 virgins, which took their lamps and went forth to meet the bridegroom. Who is the bridegroom? We're gonna find out here shortly. In these next couple of verses, it says, and 5 of them were wise, and 5 were foolish. So it says, they that were foolish took their lamps and took no oil with them, but the wise took their oil in vessels with their lamps. So they both had a light. They both had a light, and that light is symbolic for the understanding of these scriptures. So then it says, while the bridegroom tarried, they all slumbered and slept. And this is Romans 13 and verse 11. It says, and knowing the time that it is high time, that now it is high time to awake out of sleep. For now is our salvation nearer than when we were believed. The night is far spent, the day is at hand. Let us therefore cast off the works of darkness, and let us put on the armor of light. So the works of darkness is synonymous with light. And, at night you sleep. And it says put on the armor of light. So we know that darkness is essentially synonymous with wickedness. But it says while the bridegroom tarried. So it says while the bridegroom tarried, they all slept and slumbered. So going back to Habakkuk chapter 2 and verse 3, it says, let me get it. Habakkuk 2 and 3, it says, for the vision is yet for an appointed time, but at the end it shall speak and not lie. Though it tarry, wait for it, because it will surely come, it will not tarry. So the vision we're talking about is the bridegroom. When the bridegroom is going to make his appearance, when he's going to arrive on the scene. And that, he hasn't came yet because the vision has an appointed time, as we just got. So it says, and at midnight there was a cry made, behold, the bridegroom cometh, go ye out to meet him. Then all those virgins arose and trimmed their lamps. And the foolish said unto the wise, give us of your oil, for our lamps are gone out. But the wise answered, saying, not so, lest there be enough for us and you, but go ye rather to them that sell, and buy for yourselves. And while they went to buy, the bridegroom came, and they that were ready went in with him to the marriage, and the door was shut. It says, afterward came also the other virgins, saying, Lord, Lord, open to us. But he answered and said, verily, verily, I say unto you, I know you not. It says, watch therefore, for ye know neither the day nor the hour wherein the Son of Man cometh. So that's who the bridegroom is, the Son of Man. Hamashiach Yahushua. It says, for the kingdom of heaven is a man traveling into a far country, who called his own servants and delivered unto them his goods. And unto one he gave 5 talents, and to another 2, and to another, to every man according to his several ability, and straightway took his journey. So going back to the parable of the the 5 virgins or the 10 virgins, basically, they both had the light, which is the truth, this knowledge. But the foolish virgins, they they were fools, and they didn't have any oil in their lamps. And the oil is essentially what you do with the wisdom, what you do with the knowledge, how you apply the knowledge that you gain from these scriptures. Those were the servants that rested on their leaves. All right, then it says, this is Matthew 20:25 and 15. It says, and to another one, to every man according to his several ability, and straightway took his journey. Then he that had received the 5 talents went and traded with the same, and made them other 5 talents. So he basically flipped it. It says, and likewise, he that had received 2, he also gained the other 2. So he flipped his as well. It say, but he that had received 1 went and digged in the earth and hid his Lord's money. So that's the ones that rested on their leaves. The foolish virgins. It say, after a long time, the Lord of those servants cometh and reckoneth with them. And so he that received 5 talents came and bought other 5 talents, saying, Lord, thou deliverest unto me 5 talents. Behold, I have gained beside them 5 more talents. So he flipped his as well. It says, his Lord said unto him, well done, thou good and faithful servant. Thou has been over a few things. I will make thee ruler over many things, and enter thou into the joy of the Lord, which is the kingdom, which is heaven. It says, he also that had received 2 talents came and said, Lord, thou deliverest unto me 2 talents. Behold, I have gained 2 other talents beside them. His Lord said unto him, well done, good and faithful servant. Thou hast been faithful over a few things. I will make thee ruler over many things. Enter thou into the joy of the Lord. Then he which received 1 talent came and said, Lord, I knew thee that thou art an hard man, reaping where thou hast not sown, gathering where thou hast not strawed. And I was afraid, and went and hid thy talent in the earth. Lo there thou hast that is thine. His Lord answered and said unto him, thou wicked and slothful servant, thou knewest that I reap where I sowed not, and gather where I have not strawed. Thou oughtest therefore to have put my money to the exchangers, and then at my coming I should have received mine own with usury. So he's saying you should have flipped yours, just like those, your wise counterparts. It says, take therefore the talent from him and give it unto him which hath 10 talents. What is that talent? One talent is the understanding of these scriptures. You got somebody that's basically doubling what they've been given through the Spirit, what they were allotted through the Spirit. They're doubling the money that they was given. And then you have somebody that just received the knowledge, and they're not doing anything with it. They're not being doers of the word. Roughly paraphrasing, it says, for unto everyone that hath shall be given, and he shall have an abundance. But from him that hath not shall be taken away even that which he hath. So for unto everyone that hath, for unto everyone that hath what? Has basically use the knowledge, and flipped it, And then it says, and he shall have abundance. But from him that hath not shall be taken away even that which he hath. And what did he have? The understanding. He was blessed with the understanding, but he didn't do anything with it. He wasn't a doer of the word. It says, and cast ye the unprofitable servant into outer darkness. There shall be weeping and gnashing of teeth, when the Son of Man shall come in his glory, and all the holy angels with him. Then shall he sit upon the throne of his glory, and before him shall be gathered all nations, and he shall separate them one from another, as a shepherd divideth his sheep from the goats. And I'm going to skip down a little bit. It says, and the king shall answer. This is Matthew 25:40. It says, and the king shall answer and say unto them, verily I say unto you, inasmuch as ye done it unto one of the least of my brethren, ye have done it unto me. So going back up, it says, verse 37 says, then shall the righteous answer him, saying, Lord, when saw thee? So I'm going to go to verse 35. Salakia. For I was an hunger, and ye gave me meat. I was thirsty, and ye gave me drink. I was a stranger, and ye took me in. Naked, and ye clothed me. I was sick, and ye visited me. I was in prison, and ye came unto me. Then shall the righteous answer him, saying, Lord, when saw we thee in hunger, and fed thee, or thirsty, and gave thee drink? When saw we thee a stranger, and took thee in, or naked, and clothed thee? Or when saw we thee sick, or in prison, and came unto thee? And the king shall answer and say unto them, verily I say unto you, inasmuch as ye have done it unto one of the least of my brethren, of these my brethren, ye have done it unto me. So, in this truth, we got to be there for, our brethren who are pushing this truth in sincerity. Just like when Hamashiach Yahushua had washed the disciples' feet, he said, roughly paraphrasing, that we got to do the same for our brethren. Be there for each other. And then going back up to where it said he's going to arrive in his glory, this is one of my favorite chapters right here. Isaiah 63. Because that's when he gonna make his grand appearance. And it sound it's just, it sound good. It sounds great, man. It says, I can just picture it. I'm pretty sure that it's gonna be way more spectacular than what I'm thinking. But it seemed like a movie to me. It says, who is this that cometh from Edom, which with dyed garments from Basra? That is, Slaki. It says, dyed garments from Basra, that is glorious in his apparel, traveling in the greatness of his strength. I that speak in righteousness, mighty to save. Wherefore art thou red in thine apparel, and thy garments like him that treadeth in the wine fat? I have trodden the winepress alone, and of the people there was none with me. For I will tread them in mine anger, and trample them in my fury, and their blood shall be sprinkled upon my garments, and I will stain all my raiment. Because Mashiach Yahushua is coming to do a lot of killing, man. Of 2/3 of our people, and then of the wicked. Esau, Edom. It says, for the day of vengeance is in mine heart, and the year of my redeemed is come. So, that was verse 4. Isaiah 63, verse 1 through 4, because he's coming back to do a lot of destruction. The world has this image of, the Messiah, which his true name is Hamashiach Yahushua. Yeah, he has many titles, but he is a very austere man. He's not like, he's not some white dude, Caesar Borgia or Serapis Christos, that so-called white face that they got in, in these churches, So Abaratazat that was edifying. I want to say, call her Layim La, Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shah, Bahashem Kakdash. Double honor to the elders and apostles, great millstone. That told me it's true, rule well, Shalom.